Thank you, Prof. Pradeep, for this wonderful lecture. And I think it is time for interaction. Uh, you will have lots of things to ask about how excellence is built to Pradeep. So I request you to
Yeah,
kindly
sure, of
interact
course.
without any barriers.
No barriers.
So, Pradeep, thank you for your
Yes.
full lecture. I have an interview now, so I have to leave.
Yeah, please do. Please
Okay.
do. And let me just get out of this particular. Yeah, I can see you. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Professor Jarraj. We will meet sometime.
Yeah.
I was, I personally, I was wondering, for example, you work in a central government institution, IIT, and there, many crores of rupees is being spent on research projects every year. And you also have to go by the government guidelines in terms of the funding, the accounting requirements and all those things will have to be met. The most, I was just wondering, how do you manage it? How do the IIT manage this? And probably this is one major area that this universities in Kerala suffer. So I'm quite interested, how do they manage this expenditure without hassles?
Yeah. So first and foremost is that the project management is completely independent of the institutional management. That is, project has an accounting, a purchase section. Project has a human resource section where you recruit people, and project has all the kind of reimbursement, accounting section. All of these is done separately, and every project has a separate account in which money goes in, and these days you have to also earn interest, and part of the interest is given back to the agency. So all of this is completely separate, and at the same time, when you do this, you do get a small overhead. And that overhead is 15% or 10% or whatever overhead that everyone is getting. Within that, you need to manage it. And at the same time, the equipment and infrastructure that are coming, they don't get money after the project period, but they have to work. Universities have to pay for the electricity and water and everything else. And therefore, a tiny bit has to be kept for ensuring that service is available. And project always, the money doesn't come, almost all the money doesn't come. Some money is lost, and some money comes only after several years of pursued effort, and for that something has to be kept. So all of these, there is a big planning on this, and this planning is done by a project management team advised by faculty members who are getting projects. So we have a dean under whom this entire thing is happening as a separate administration. So we get today something to the tune of about totally about 1,200 crores or so in the institute, and more than about 600 crores is coming for that. So in fact, that dean is the richest dean. Now, it is possible, it is important to run it as a separate thing, and oftentimes this is where the whole problem happens, that the administration mixes up this accounting with the main accounting. And that main accounting is one concerned about 1 rupee this way, that way, etc., because it is all another kind of money. And here the aspirations are different. Here the Aldrich chemical has to come the next day. The helium has to come the next day. Otherwise, helium evaporates in whatever is the warehouse. Otherwise, NMR doesn't run. The urgency in this section is different. And the biology fellows get their carbon dioxide or whatever ice evaporates, and all their salt, all their protein get denatured. So the requirements are different, and therefore the auditing has to look at these. You cannot employ always the lowest bidder. Right? And you are getting visitors from abroad who may go. They are coming from America. While they are coming from America, they might probably get landed in Middle East somewhere, and then probably they may eat some coffee or something, and you have to pay that. And the accounting has to be considerate to all this. So I don't want to elaborate all that. So, but point is that this is a separate thing. And unless we create a separate machinery for that, and don't say that everyone is the same, someone who gets 1 crore of rupees has different requirements than another person who gets something else. My scales are always larger, and I, of course, demand for that. And if it is not there, you get your own person appointed.
Thank you.
Pradeep sir, thank you very much for your insightful lecture. I'll come back to this point, but before that, I just want to seek some advice from you that can be given to our young researchers and young faculty members. We traditionally, sir, during research, our students approach while writing their paper, like do experiment, they observe something, they present their observation, and then write some kind of result and end up with a conclusion. So, most of our students, they do not know to look into the result from a different perspective, or how can they really put their result in such a way that can be getting published in a very high impact journal. I might find that the results are good, but our students lack the way in which how they interpret the result from a different perspective. So can you just give some kind of help in this regard to our research scholars?
So interdisciplinarity is central to scientific growth. That interdisciplinarity doesn't get nurtured in isolation. So therefore, frequent visitors, their frequent talks, interaction with this, all these are important. But it is not easy. I keep, once in a while I get a Nobel laureate to IIT. But I was so shocked to tell you that even in those visits, people are unwilling even to come. I get excellent people from all over the world, and sometimes I find that halls are empty. So it is a matter of, if you want to be part of this thing, you need to invest your time. You can't suddenly become, you can't suddenly write a paper which touches upon all the other related aspects of your data without you investing time into it. Without reading Linus Pauling, how do you understand chemical bond? But to read Linus Pauling is difficult. You need to put your time in it. So my point that I'm trying to tell you is that the current level of instruction and MSc and something, a CSIR, whatever, JRF, is not enough to get an appreciation of wider things. And for this, you need to invest. From the institutional side, we need to present people, get people, international visitors, national visitors, opportunities to interact, travel, etc. has to be done. But at the same time, from another person's time and effort has to be invested. in the absence of which it is impossible. So what is that one can do? Well, how do I do? Well, if you take one spectrum, take one UV visible spectrum, compare that UV visible spectrum with the best spectrum that is published, and you see where are you going wrong in the axis? Where are you going wrong in the tiny, your data may all be obtained in the same machine, but your data look ugly because you have not understood the meaning of quality data. You are also collecting a quality image in a geo or microscope. I am also collecting. Somebody else is also collecting. Why is that my data are looking ugly? So it is important to understand what is quality. And what is quality is understood only by comparison. Right? You look at you look at a Hollywood versus Bollywood or Kollywood or something. This is how you compare. At the same time, if you want to read good Malayalam, you read Malayalam Kuttishnamayar, you read. Otherwise, you don't understand what is Malayalam, right? The same is the case in the chemistry. I grew up reading Bharata Pariyadanam, and almost every month I read Bharata Pariyadanam again to ensure that my Malayalam is not lost. So all I wanted to say is that interdisciplinarity doesn't come overnight. You need to invest time and effort in it. By looking at best in the literature, best in your area, you understand or you make a small progress. Because for all these, it is good to live in a good place, good to spend time with people, good to spend time in a good laboratory, good to write a good paper with a good person. So all of these cannot be, need for all of these cannot be overemphasized here.
Thank you, Pradeep, sir. Sir, I just want to ask one more thing, which is related to Ravindran sir's question. In fact, historically speaking, in Indian context, Indian educational system is more of administrative in nature. The exemptions are national institutes and central, to a certain extent, central universities. But most of the state universities are still more of administrative in nature. So these things are some of the problems, creating some problems in smooth functioning of the project, running of the research projects. So is there any way out through forming some kind of advisory council to change the modus operandi of state universities by people like you? It's a very direct question.
So I am not fully aware of the complications involved, but what I can tell you is that the University Act statutes were framed by really eminent people with a lot of freedom for the universities. But oftentimes the freedom is not fully utilized for various reasons, and I see that there are huge political interferences, which is the principal reason for that. Now, there are people who have come out of these also, and I know several vice chancellors who did very well despite these limitations with an iron might and changed the university systems. But of course, all these people are human beings. They disappear and things collapse and reappear and things like that. When it comes to a human being, when a wrong person is taken, there is nothing that you can do. Then the system collapses. It is easy to say that everyone has the same potential, etc. That's all true. But at a certain level of 30+%, if you don't take a person of quality, then you destroy the system. You need to be extremely careful with recruitments. I'm talking about the faculty level. And this, of course, is a problem of our university system for various reasons of caste, creed, or interferences of various kinds. We all have destroyed the system. But you asked me a question as to within this system, how do you change? Not easy. But universities have flexibility, as I said, because of the statutes. Now, I feel that if there is a quality that can be sort of ensured, university system will do better. We all have universities which are better off. You look at, even in Kerala, there are certain universities which are better off than other universities. In the central universities, there are certain universities better off than others. They all have the same statutes, essentially the same statutes. They all have the same political, etc. interferences. Why are they better? So if you analyze this, you will find that the key reason is the administration of a different kind, attitude of a different kind. All IITs were born in the same way. Some IITs are really different. And I can tell you that great, internal insights from within. So it is possible to change. There is no question about it. Every college is the same, but some colleges are different, right? We know that. So it is possible to do. And what are, in my view, the principal problem in the university system to do research is to ensure that every researcher who genuinely wants to do research, that person is not constrained by procedure, hierarchy, system. This has to go away. This has to go away. This is an internal system, internal thing. And this is very much possible in the university system. Right? If I may not have all the freedom, or as Vice Chancellor, I may not have freedom to give money to people. But I do have freedom to structure it. Even here in IIT Madras director, he cannot give money. But structural freedom exists. And so I feel that principal thing currently that is needed is to gain the trust of every faculty member of the university system to ensure that they will be free to perform research. And they will not be penalized. Their pension is going to be preserved for whatever that is. They are not going to be troubled. This has to come in. The second thing, the monolithic university system has to realize that every cog in this wheel is important. Every brick is important. And they have to understand that they are contributing to something larger for the nation. And of course, occasionally, if people do not contribute to that, we must have mechanisms of ensuring that that person does not obstruct. So all these are part of that research administration I talked about. I think it is very much feasible in my view. Research Administrative Council and all that is not a procedural, some body of subcommittee or Senate or something. It should be a completely different entity. And of course, if it is required, appropriate permissions from the governor or minister or who's whatever, that all have to be obtained. And for that, the right kind of body with proper reputation should be there.
I was also just wanted to ask you, the research funds, for example. Can you give your advice on how the university can enhance its research capabilities and funding from a national, particularly with respect to the national resources, central resources?
You know, the CRG, core research grants of the DST, they give allow one core research grant to be run by a faculty member, and that one grant continue for 3 years, right? So let us say if we have, I don't know how many faculty members in science and all, but let us say assuming that there are 5 people in a department, whatever, that itself is a very sad story, that first of all, people have to, all the recruitments have to be over, right? All the vacancies have to be filled and things like that. So assuming that there are, let us say, 10 faculty members and there are, let us say, 20 departments, there are 200 faculty members there, let us say, and 200 faculty members, about 25% of the people get projects, about 50 projects are running, core research grant projects. And typical core research grant projects are about 50 lakhs of rupees, minimum. Today it is 80 lakhs or something, is the DST. I'm in several committees. So it is 80, let us say 50 lakhs of rupees. And 50 projects are now running, let us say. So we have a reasonable amount, 2,500 lakhs of rupees. So 25 crores of rupees of money from just the SCRB core research grant. And core research grants are announced every 6 months, right? Now it is all streamlined. So it is indeed possible to get 25% of the faculty members, 10-20% of the faculty members to get this. If there is a deliberate effort in this regard on, let us say, training in core research grant writing, execution, etc., activities, it is possible. Now there are, apart from core research grants, there are plenty of new opportunities. Every now and then right now there are a couple of them running. So that, again, it is not going to be common for everybody. Let us say if in each one of those new opportunities, one project comes through, then again, it is certainly a reasonable number. So I'm saying that 50 projects of this thing and 50 projects of another kind. So that a faculty member who is active has consecutively two projects running. We are talking something in the range of about 50 crores of projects running. Of course, state government has opportunities. There may not be great many opportunities with the CSIR and UGC, etc. now, but there are many other organizations too running. Now, I know that I run projects, a reasonably large magnitude every year. But it is not easy. You write proposals after proposals. Just last week I finished one. Before that I finished another one. So every month I submit 2 proposals. This is something that we need to do, and there has to be a machinery for that. Otherwise, people will collapse. See, why is it possible? Because in my opinion, in my experience, I don't normally spend any time for any of these procedures. I write one email, copy to all the people that this has to get done. And it will get done. It has to get done. We have fortunately so far created that. In the initial years, it was all very, very extremely troublesome, spending all the time in the offices and all that. But it is not needed now. It will get done. So people ask me, you're running this project with, now I was writing a proposal with 8 universities, surrounding 8 institutions. And I wanted to get letters from all the vice chancellors, directors, etc. Somebody was asking me, you have only one day to get all these done. Will it be possible? I said, for me, it doesn't matter. I will get it done. We need to create an environment of that. And I think if people see that your intentions are genuine, initially they will keep obstructing you years together. Then a little later on, they realize that this cannot be stopped. But in that process, you get aged, you get gray hairs, and what can you do? That's what happens. So keep enduring yourself. But then I said that the Research Advisory Council, with some kind of powers, with whatever that is needed to change, that should be done. Confidence has to come to people. Otherwise, I don't think people will write proposals.
Sir, I have a question, maybe. Sir, when I was doing my postdoc, we generally does a lot of industrial collaborative works as well as problems. But in India, we don't have, industries are not that much coming to attract our skills, as well as we don't get industrial projects. Maybe sir, you have any suggestion upon that?
You know, the problem is both ways. It is, industries say that they don't get whatever they want from the universities. Academicians say that industries don't come to you. Nobody comes to you. I mean, I have taken this position that nobody comes to me. I need to go to them. But over a large number of years in this thing, today people see me. You know, I was talking to junior engineers, managers, senior managers, managing director, general manager, senior general manager. I was never getting to talk to the boss. And without the boss getting to agree, no money comes. I'm talking about industry. It was not possible to talk to Godrej. But today it is all possible. Today I can pick up a call and then call Mahindra, Godrej. But it doesn't come overnight. They have to see value in you. Otherwise, why should a man who controls an empire invest time on you? They won't even look at your email. Right? They have a machinery to filter it out. So we need to understand that industries are extremely difficult, and they have come a very, very, in a hard way to make 1 rupee. It is not easy to make 1 rupee in industry. So we need to go to them and they need to come to you. And this both have to happen. So industries don't come to you is as good as saying that you are not going to them. So how do we do this? It's a catch-22, right? You don't go to them, they don't come to you, and then nothing happens, and ultimately we blame each other. So what is that we have done? We have gone to them. Every year, 2 months of vacation, we say, faculty members, you are free to go to the university, whatever companies or institutions or whatever. We give you freedom. We give you money to go there. Spend some time there and come back. And we have signed up with several companies and then say that, well, our faculty member ABCD would like to come and visit you. Will you be happy to spend some time with them? They would. And this way, we go to them, they go to you. How many of your Calicut University professors visit the industries in Calicut? How many visit industries in Kerala? You don't. I can tell you that you don't. Then what's the point in saying that they don't come to you? They don't know you. They don't know you. They don't know your capabilities. So there is a mistrust on on both sides, and this has to be broken. And there are mechanisms, that time-tested mechanisms that we all have done. And I have a very dear friend here called Ashok Junjunwala. So he tells me that he's also a Padmashri and all. So he tells me that the most important lesson that he has learned, he's 10 years senior to me, in the IIT system, is that on the day one that he came, that year, he visited industries. That is how he learned that industries need him. So please, let us say 10% of the faculty members can visit industries. Spend just one week, 2 weeks. Walk around and you will certainly find something wherein your intellect can contribute to them.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anything more?
More questions?
I think I should have another meeting also at 12.
Okay, then
Yeah. We
I
can
think
conclude.
We should wait another few more minutes. If there are something more, it's okay. No issues at all. I was just placing this 12 o'clock appointment. By the way, industry appointment, question was asked. This is from an industry. So I don't want to disappoint any industry. I talk to them. If anybody who comes, I will talk to them. The reason is, yeah, go ahead.
Sir, myself, Pradeep from NIT Calicut, sir. Sir, doing research.
Yes.
Sir, doing research is okay, getting published is okay, but when we actually present a real-time problem, lot of hurdles are there, sir. How to get along with those all things? I was carefully listening to all the points which you were mentioning there, how to overcome that. Still, sir, some more input is needed in that aspect also.
How to overcome everyday struggles.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, I do not know. I was so fortunate that I have a wife. I don't have to look at anything at home. I'm sitting here in this office just because I'm fortunate to have a wife of that kind. I was so fortunate that I have people. My parents never demanded anything from me other than my father only asked me, what is the greatest thing in life? He used to say, the greatest thing in life is the power of the written word. Power of the written word. And nothing will ever fly on that. He said that. Nothing will ever fly on that. It's not money. It's not anything. On the written word, nothing will ever fly. So get the power of that. So I was fortunate that way. So I can tell you, I am from an advantageous point I'm speaking. There's no point in saying that, well, Professor Pradeep is spending all his time in life and on research just because I have a huge support system around me. Well, I am myself very hardworking. That is certainly, there is no question about it. But Lisa, if you are asking from your perspective, it is important that I make everyone around me realize that my time is precious. So it was very difficult in this system to make people realize that they will come tomorrow. Why all-rich chemical? You know, what is the need for tomorrow? Get it next week, next week. Appointments are 10, whatever the days and weeks later. I say I want to get it done today, now. Over a period of time, it so happened that this endurance made people convinced that this is important for this person. Let me not be a barrier. But in this process, we also realize that there are many people who are not that fortunate like me. So we have to create an atmosphere for them. An atmosphere today that any person who requests for a forwarding letter from the university, that forwarding letter is gone in 1 hour. We have created a mechanism for that. It will happen for anybody. Utilization certificate, it comes to you within 24 hours. We have created a mechanism for it. We created a patent mechanism that 3 days patent will be filed. Decision will be taken. So it is, in a system like ours, it is probably possible, but in a system like yours, it may not be possible, but you are sitting in an NIT. I know it is not different from my system. Administratively, these are all possible within that system also. But you can't change people. Sometimes, I had between two of my laboratories, there was a huge laboratory which was closed for 30 years. Ravindran would know. 25 years it was closed. I, went from pillar to post to get that room open to make sure that it's not for me. At least use it. Doesn't matter. Use it. Today it's a laboratory. Not because of you and me or my effort or whatever, just that person retired and went. That's all. Sometimes it is like that. This is what we can do. So what is that I can do? I can build a laboratory around that, which I can do. So sometimes it is not possible, Lisa, to build something, but it is endurance. Endurance is the only word that I can tell you.
But I got the answer,
And
sir.
for that,
I got the answer right now. You said it very nicely. I can also build around it, sir. That I will do. That's a real inspiration for me, sir. Thank you so much. I will do that.
Well, that is the case. Then I think Professor Pradeep has a meeting he said at 12, and we're very close to that. And so it's a great pleasure, Professor Pradeep, to have you with us this morning. And you are very inspirational. And I would even say that there are lots of corrective spirit in what you said, probably which university administrations across the state has to imbibe. And it was wonderful to have you. And I request Professor Renuga to have the final formal vote of thanks to wind up this program. Thank you. Yeah, you have to unmute. You have to unmute, Renuga. No, you have to unmute. No, you have to. You just press that on that. Somehow you are. Okay. Maybe I will ask.
Okay, sir. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon,
yes,
everyone.
can hear.
First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Pradeep for his inspiring lecture. It reminded us on quality research that is beneficial to society. Thank you very much, sir. It has been a pleasure to hear your flowing words. And I thank Dr. Ravidan, Chairman, as well as our head of the department, Dr. Yahya, for giving us this opportunity to hear to Dr. Pradeep. And finally, I would like to thank all the participants, faculty members, as well as students and research scholars for being with us on this occasion. Thank you very much.
So, thank
Right
you.
then. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Pradeep sir,
Very nice
one day you have to come to our campus to interact with our physical interaction with our students. Last December we we discussed about it, and you asked me to pre-plan at least 6 months before.
And I will also ask our Vice Chancellor, so that to take your help in how to establish a better habitat for researchers in the University of Calicut. But I think I wish VC was there right now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.